Let's start off with your look at the market's performance here. I mean, is it showing signs of sustainability in your books?
Yeah, as we know, in the past 2 weeks, the market has recorded a number of losses. So gaining on Thursday and Friday came as a form of relief. And considering the general news in the market, investor sentiments appear to be improving. For instance, the level of provisioning by banks seems to be coming down. And the government, the CBN indicated that provisional GDP growth rate is above 7%. And there are indications that asset management company that will take over the bad loans of banks will be established before end of this year. So put all this news together, I think investor sentiment are quite positive. So we may expect to see the continued increase in the all-share index this week.
What is your overall outlook for the banking space? Because as you've said, we've heard Governor Lamido Sanusi say that we are going to see all of the rescued banks surviving in one form or another, and that any bank bailout will not push the country's fiscal deficit above 3% of GDP. Given all that's been said and the positive sentiment right now, how are you viewing the banking space?
Yeah, you see, the banking sector, when you look at the CBN comment, the CBN has assured the investors that no bank will be allowed to fail. And when you look at the current administration, credibility is very, very key to the actions of the CBN. And if the CBN has said that no bank will be allowed to fail and that they will survive one way or the other, I think the market expects that will happen. And again, when you look at the provision that has been made, it's obvious that the level of provision has been going down. Between September and date, you see, all-share index has been almost flat, and the crude oil price has risen by about 15%. And all these tend to suggest that future provisioning are quite to be lower than what we've seen in recent time. And from the valuation perspective, you see the banking sector, on average, they are trading at a 9.97 PE ratio, and we see the market converging to a PE ratio of about 15%. I mean, 15 times, and when you see that, that's about 50% upside potential for the sector. I think going forward, we see the sector rallying into the second quarter of next year.
Let's get specific here. We saw First City Monument Bank out with numbers on Friday, full-year results showing that profit after tax was down 73%. Also, three-month results to the end of July, which were released at the same time, showing that gross earnings and PAT were both down. What was market reaction to those numbers specifically?
Yeah, you say on Friday, the FCMB stock gained over 3%. When you see the result, the full year end result is in line with the overall trend of bank results that have been released this year. But what's worrisome is the first quarter and second quarter result, which showed that the gross earnings were down by about 15% second quarter. And that is kind of against the trend in the market. Other banks have seen gross earnings go up, even though profits seem to be going down due to provision. But in the case of FCMB, what we're seeing, gross earnings is down. And that is a kind of concern for investors. However, when you look at the valuation, FCMB seems to be trading at a PE ratio less than 6% and 6 times, and price to book value of less than 1. And that's attractive valuation metrics relative to other stocks in the sector. I think looking at the valuation, the outlook for the FCMB stocks seems to be positive.
Well, it's still those, despite the slew of banking results we've seen come to the fore, and as you say, largely positive despite those valuations on offer. It's still those in the consumer market stealing quite a bit of attention. International breweries were out with numbers as well. Run us through those numbers for the 9 months to September, but more importantly, how a company like International Breweries compares to the likes of Guinness and Nigerian breweries.
Yeah, International Brewery, we saw their result on Friday. Gross and turnover was up of about 41%. But unfortunately, the company reported a loss of about 200 million against profit recorded for 9 months in the preceding year. And when you look at the company, when you compare it to Nigerian Brewery or Guinness, the company is not doing very well. From valuation, the stock is trading at a PE ratio of about 25 times compared to Guinness and Nigerian Brewery, which are trading at PE of less than 15 times. So when you look at that, I think investor sentiment towards International Brewery is currently negative. So we are looking to the brewery sector. Nigerian Brewery and Guinness will be favorably considered.